Welcome in, everyone. I'm back here on the Mad Max Lowco recap, May 3rd. It's been a while, actually over a month since I last did a Mad Max Lowco recap. It's been a busy month of April, but now we are officially in May, and I have time now to do a Mad Max Lowco recap. Get the banner up and going here with all the scores that have come over the last couple days, and of course some games that are currently going on right now. We're going to start with a game that's currently being played right now, and that is USC baseball, USCB softball taking on the rivals from just up the road at USC Aiken. They're on the road today. One game won yesterday, 10-0 in 5 innings. Madison Murphy pitched a one-hit shutout. Really impressive again by her. really impressive game for her. Came up short in game two, a 3-2 loss to USC Aiken, and now currently in the bottom of the fourth, USC Aiken is currently up 1-0 on the Sand Sharks, and I will tell you why and show you why this game is extremely important. See if I can get it up here. Here we go. Yeah, here it is. If I can. All right, here we go. Can't really see that. Can you? Oh, no, you can see that. That's fine. So currently, with the way the standings are, USCB is currently fifth seed right now. But here's where it gets interesting. We have three teams here that are all very close to each other now. If USCB wins this game, they'll hold on to that 5 seed. Now, here's where it gets interesting. If USC Aiken wins, they will move up to where USCB is. They will be the 5 seed because they have the tiebreaker of USCB. But however, USCB will not be the 7 seed. They'd be the 6 seed. Why? Because they have the tiebreaker over Augusta, as they won 2 out of 3 games a couple weekends back on the road at Augusta. So USCB will, at the worst, get the 6 seed, which is it's a good thing for USCB. Being that they barely got in as an 8 seed last year, for them to be a 6 seed, it means the improvements are really starting to show for Cody Yeski's team, and they're fighting right now for the hold on to that 5th spot. It's only a 1-run game, so anything can happen over the next 3 innings, and we could go to extra innings. That would be fun to watch. So that's where USCB is currently sitting in the standings. If they win, they hold on to that 5 seed. If they lose, they'll go to the 6 seed and stay right there as the 6 seed. Augusta will be the 7th seed, and Flagler will more than likely end up with the 8th seed. Although, I want to see here. Check and see what Middle Georgia is doing, because they're literally half a game behind Flagler. So, well, they beat Georgia College in game 2. Game 2 on, is that Friday? It is Friday. So game 2 on Friday. So they lost game 1 on Friday, won game 2 on Friday. So they had a doubleheader on Friday at Georgia College and State. They're currently playing right now in game 3. And that one's important for them, because if they do want to have a shot at the final spot, I'm trying to see here. The only downside would be they need Flagler to lose, because Flagler has the advantage of them. They have they won 2 out of 3 games against Middle Georgia earlier this year. So real dicey. Who does Flagler have? I'm wondering who they're playing right now. Georgia Southwestern. And they won all of them. So that effectively, I believe, since they won those games, that effectively, even if Middle Georgia does win, that effectively puts them out of the Beach Bowl Conference tournament. Flagler will get in with the 2-1 advantage over Middle Georgia from their series earlier in the season. So the 8 seed is set. So we are trying to figure out who the 5th, 6th, and 7 seeds will be for that tournament. And otherwise, everything else is pretty locked up, if I'm looking correctly. Obviously, North Georgia is locked in at that 1 spot. Columbus State locked in at the 2 seed. The 3 seed is, interesting. Well, actually, does Georgia College and Lander could be interesting. Let me check and see. Oh, that's interesting. So Georgia College won 2 out of 3 games against Lander. So if Georgia College wins today, based on advantage, if that's what the Peach Belt Conference goes on in terms of conference record, um, with if Georgia College wins, they both will have a 16-11 conference record. So it goes to a tiebreaker in terms of who won their series, and it would go to Georgia College. So if Georgia College wins, they'll have the 3 seed. Lander will have the 4 seed. If they lose, it'll stay where it's currently at with Lander at 3, Georgia College at 4. Then you got the whole fiasco with positions 5, 6, and 7. Um, if USCB wins, they hold on to the 5 seed, and evidently that will put Augusta squarely in the 6 seed. Although, yeah, they put him at the 6 seed. Yeah, they put him at Augusta can't go any higher than 6th because they lost all 3 of their games against North Georgia this weekend. So that means that USCB can either finish 5th or 6th. Nothing worse than that, I don't think. So evidently they are in to the Peach Belt Conference tournament, which is a huge deal for the second year in a row under Cody Yeski. So that's big. That's huge. So the question is USCB going to be 5th or 6th? And that all determines on their game currently going on right now, top of the 5th. They're currently down 1-0 to USC Aiken. Meanwhile, baseball, their season has ended. They ended last weekend on a really sour note. They were up against Middle Georgia, and Middle Georgia came back to win 13-12 after USCB was up, I think 12-5 or something like that. Just a sour way to end the season. However, rumors are going around that they're picking up some talent from the junior college level, and I think they're picking up some good high school talent as well. So, Brian Lewis is trying to build a program, and it's a long road to get to a program that's competitive. I mean, you look at their record this year; it wasn't best, So you look at USCB baseball, how they end their season, not the best of ways to end the season. Um, I'll give you their final stats in terms of record and get it up here. No, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. All right. No, that's also not what I wanted to do. That's the wrong year. I don't know why, but whenever I go to USCB schedule, it comes up with the 2025 schedule. All right, so here's the final stats on their season: 12-34 record, 4-26 in conference play. Those 4 wins came against USC Aiken, Columbus State, and 2 against Claflin. So that's pretty much their season set in stone. They also had some pretty good wins. They had a big win over at the time a ranked Eckerd College. They got the 3-2 victory on that Sunday game they had on the road at St. Petersburg. So that's a great win, actually, probably their best win of the year. And then they didn't win a game after that. Oh no, they did. They beat Savannah State twice this year, and they won that game afterwards, and then finished out on the 6-game losing streak. So I mean, look, they had some highs, they had some lows, but it's better than last year's record, and that's something to go upon. I mean, you look at last year's record, a 9-37 record. However, a conference record 5-22. The difference is they swept Claflin last year and somehow couldn't do it this year. So that's the unfortunate side of things. So that finishes USCB baseball season. It was a disappointing year, but they had some great moments. And myself and Wes Kerr, we were watching their game. We were on call for their game against USC Aiken that they won on a bullpen day, and it was a great game. They played really well, and they had some glimpse of a team that can compete. They're just missing some pieces, and really, it's mainly the pitching side of things. Although they're losing quite a few seniors this year, so they're going to be reloading this offseason. So hopefully they're going to focus on pitching. I think the offense is in good shape. I mean, they played really well offensively this year. They were finding ways to score runs and try to pick up wins, keep them in the game. And the pitching just was the biggest problem. So, it's going to be interesting to see what they do during the offseason. Meanwhile, college softball, they're going to be playing next week in the Peach Belt Conference tournament. The question right now is, where will they be? And as I say that, USCB has just tied the game up on a Tamaya Whitlock single. She bunted down probably the third base line. Alyssa Rose would score and gives USCB a chance. They got runners on the corners with 2 outs and a chance for them to pick up another run and take the lead. Both teams have 4 hits we're on 1 run on 4 hits. The only difference is USC has an error. So USCB has tied the game up. So we'll see what they can do here. This is going to be fun and exciting to watch. I might pull up the live stream just for the fun of it. But I'm going to get through the rest of this stuff first. Track and field was competing at the Peach Belt Conference Championships. I want to check and see where they were at. We had some good finishers. I'm gonna get them up here. Track and field. No, track and field. Here we go. So, as a team, USCB finishes 6th at the conference meet. Obviously, Emory Riddle won it. Not really shocking. That's her 8th straight Peach Belt Conference Men's Outdoor Track and Field Championships. So that's their 8th straight title. It's pretty impressive. Let's see here. Some awards, actually. Samuel Mitchell won the Men's Outstanding Field Athlete of the Year award. That's fantastic. Do we have the results? We do have 4 champions. I do know that. Jacoby Herring, Samuel Mitchell had 2 titles as well, and Aiden O'Neill. Let's see. Where's Jacory Herring at? I want to check and see his. So Samuel Mitchell finished 1st in the triple jump. Cam Edwards finished 4th at the triple jump, so really good showing. Jaden Rodriguez was 10th in the triple jump. Jason Joes Jose. Sorry, I may be pronouncing your name wrong. I'm sorry. Jason Joes finished 6th in the shot put. Devin Watson finished 8th. Watson finished 7th in the discus. Joes finished 14th. Good showings there. The 4x100 meter relay, USCB finished 5th. It's good showing for them. Malachi Milligan finished 3rd in the 110 meter hurdles. Ali Sanoa finished 8th in the hurdles. Mitchell finished 5th, and Shears finished 8th. Bryson Shears finished 8th in the 100 meter dash. Jacoby Herring, here we go, champion in the 400 meter hurdles, 53.79 time. That's pretty good. And the other, let's see. Sam Mitchell finished with 2, but I now need to go and check. Let's look at the final results here. So Emory Riddle finished 1st, Augusta 2nd, Clayton State 3rd, Flagler 4th, Columbus State 5th, USCB 6th, Lander 7th. Let's see. See if I can find. So Mitchell finished 3rd at the 100 meters. Ooh, women's 100 meters. Melanie Simmons finished 11th. Deanna Rivers 16th. Emma Quack 17th at the 100-meter dash for women's. Mitchell 5th. Let's see, where is Deandra Brown finished first in the women's heptathlon, which is a 100-meter hurdle, so that's pretty impressive. Grace Wolf finished second in that event. Malachi Milligan finished fourth in the men's 110 meters. Excuse me, third. Let's see. Grace Wolf finished first in the 200 meters of the women's heptathlon. Deandra Brown finished second. That's impressive by both of those two. Maggie Olson finished 8th in the 400 meters. Obviously, Ja'Cory Herring finished first in the 400-meter hurdles. Maggie Olson finished, if I can find him. Well, Grace Wolf finished first, and Deandra Brown finished 5th in the 800 meters of the heptathlon. So that's Grace Wolf's impressive, that's for sure. Zach Voles finished 12th in the 1500 meters. Ooh, here we go, discus throw. I'm trying to find the other champions. Grace Wolf, high jump heptathlon champ. That's pretty impressive. Deandra Brown finished third in the high jump. Grace Wolf finished first in the high jump of the heptathlon javelin throw. Deandra Brown second. Grace Wolf third. Men's long jump. Here we go. Samuel Mitchell finished first in the long jump, 7.49 meters. Wow, that's impressive. Who else? Grace Wolf first in the heptathlon long jump. I mean, my goodness. And Deandra Brown is second on that list as well. Aiden O'Neill first in the men's pole vault, 4.72 meters, really impressive. Sydney Lee finished 8th in the women's pole vault. Casey Thompson had a personal best with 2.85 meters in the pole vault. Congrats to her. Shot put. Heptathlon shot put. Deandra Brown second. Grace Wolf third. My God. Grace Wolf's a freshman, by the way, just so y'all know. Who else? Shot put. Women's shot put. Victoria Cullen finished second. Personal best, 11.74 meters. That's really good. Triple jump, obviously Cam Edwards finished fourth. Samuel Mitchell first with 4.92 meters. 14.92 meters. Cam Edwards with 14.59. That's a season best for him. That's pretty much it for stats that I have from the track and field meet. So that's pretty good. Other news for USCB, men's golf will be competing this week, I believe. At the NCAA regional tournament. Top 3 teams, I believe, get through to the national tournament. So USCB's got the work cut out for them because they have some quite good teams, especially from the Peach Belt Conference. USCB's ranked 18th in the country, but the teams in front of them from their 4th place finish are all ranked higher than them nationally. So very tough Peach Belt Conference when it comes to men's and women's golf, for that matter. Speaking of women's golf, McLean Neal, she'll be competing as an individual at the regional tournament out at Cleveland Golf Club, which I believe is in North Carolina. Is it Lee University? I believe is hosting that. Cleveland, Tennessee. My bad. So she'll be at the Cleveland Golf Club in Cleveland, Tennessee. Men's golf will be competing at Valdosta. At the Valdosta Country Club. I believe it's hosted by Valdosta State, but it will be. So regionals coming up for golf, men's and women's. First time that they will be competing for an NCAA tournament of any kind, whether it's regional or the national tournament. So very exciting to see the golf getting to compete and have a shot at playing in the national tournament, which would be really fun to watch. Anything else? No. I mean, we're rounding out spring sports. We're getting to that point. All right, we're going to take a quick break and be right back. We'll talk about some high school sports from this past week when we come back. Here, you're watching the Mad Max Local Recap here on the Lowco Sports Media Network. Welcome back to the Mad Max Local Recap. All right, let's go over some high school games that took place over this past week. We'll start on Monday, first round of the South Carolina High School League Boys Lacrosse state playoffs. Lower state playoffs taking, well, I guess it is overall state playoffs. I'm not sure. I have to look at the bracket. But nonetheless, in the 4A region, excuse me, my goodness. South Carolina High School League 4A first round. Hilton Head got the win over Gilbert easily, 23-1. Oceanside Collegiate took down Buford 16-5. Those are the two scores from the first round. Let's go over some high school baseball. Beaufort beat Colleton County 9-5. Bluffton beat Bishop England 5-2. North Augusta beat Hilton Head 9-1. On Monday, the Skiza 3A state tournament, Spartanburg Christian beat Patrick Henry 10-1. Florence Christian took down Colleton Prep 6-5. The 2A state tournament, Kings Academy took down Thomas Hayward in game one of a 3-game set between the two teams. Lee Academy beat Beaufort Academy with ease 16-1. And then high school softball, Woodland beat Beaufort. HACA took down Hardyville. May River took down Cross. JP2 beat Hilton Prep. Bluffton beat Thomas Hayward softball. And then let's see, girls soccer, HACA 6, First Baptist 0. Prep beat Cross. Palmetto Christian beat Patrick Henry. Northwood beat Colleton Prep. And high school boys soccer on Monday, Battery Creek beat Hampton County. Hilton Christian in a 6-5 victory over First Baptist. Cross beat Hilton Prep, and Hardyville took down Ridgeland in a 1-0 game. Close game there. Let's see. Tuesday, girls lacrosse first round began. Hilton Head beat Fountain Inn 18-2. May River beat Beaufort with ease 23-1. And then Bishop England smoked Bluffton 15-1. Boys tennis first round for Skiza 4A. Hartsville beat Bluffton 6-0. May River beat South Florence 4-2. Um, don't have a score for Brooklyn Casey Hilton Head. I'll have to take a look at that one. And then 3A first round, Philip Simmons took down Battery Creek 6-0. Any meaningful high school baseball games? 4A state tournament, Augusta Christian beat JP2 2-0. Close game there. Hilton Head Christian took down Lawrence Manning with ease, 10-0. Colt Sparger had 5 innings, complete game, 4 hits, 7 strikeouts, no walks. Really solid outing for him. 3A tournament, Hilton Head Prep beat Orangeburg 5-0. Tyler Britschke pitched a complete game, 2-hitter game, with 3 strikeouts and no walks. Good showing for him. And then 2A tournament, Thomas Hayward got 1 game back into it, won 14-10 over the Kings Academy. And then Lee Academy absolutely slammed the door on Beaufort, 24-0. Lee Academy is such a good baseball program. They have been for years. So Lee wins that series. They move on to the next round and won that series 2-0. High school softball, May River beat Hilton Head 1-0. Wow, close game with Hilton Head. That's impressive. JB2 beat Northwood. Bridges beat Cross. Colin Prep beat Clarendon Hall. Girls soccer, anything interesting? Bluffton May River girls soccer 1-1. Bluffton won at 4-2 on penalty kicks. Any other close ones? No, that's pretty much the interesting games. Boys soccer, May River beat Bluffton. They paint the town blue, 3-0. Hilton Head beat Beaufort 2-0. Whale Branch takes a win over Barnwell, 6-0. Hilton Head Prep beat Patrick Henry, and Beaufort Academy smoked St. John's Christian. Baseball. Bishop England beat Bluffton 1-0. Hilton Head smoked Bridges Prep 11-1. 4A state tournament, Hammond took down JP2, and that ultimately, I believe, if I'm correct, that would end JP2's season right there, with 2 straight losses in the playoffs. Unfortunately, they got the worst of it by having to play not only Augusta Christian but Hammond as well, and those are 2 good teams. But JP2 held in with both of them. They made them both close games, 2.2-run games in both of them. So good fight from JP2, but you would have hoped to see them go a little bit further. But I have a feeling next year they're going to be something to watch. 3A state tournament, Orangeburg Prep beat Patrick Henry. PD beat Colin Prep 12-2. Softball, not much interesting there in softball. Girls soccer, JB2 beats Hilton Head Christian 2-1. Great game there. Boys soccer. How about this one? Hey, Hilton Head Christian and JP2 went at it 2-2 after regulation and overtime. HACA wins it 5-4 on penalty kicks. How about that? Thursday, boys tennis second round of the South Carolina High School League 4A playoffs. Bluffton beat Aiken 5-1. Wilson took down May River 6-0. High school baseball. Let's see here. 4A state tournament for Skeeza. Hilton Head Christian with the walk-off home run win, 1-0. I'll see if I can find that video in a second. 3A state tournament, Williamsburg beat Prep. That was it's not really shocking. Williamsburg was the 1 seed, but a good showing by Prep. Those 2 may face again in at some point this week, possibly. And then Thomas Hayward's season came to an end on Thursday with a 6-4 loss to the Kings Academy. Though Kings wins it 2-1 in the series and move on to the next round. See any good games? Softball, not really. Girls soccer, any close ones? Hampton County fell short to Midland Valley 2-0. Hilton Prep beat Bridges 4-2. Let's see. BA beat Patrick Henry 3-1. Yeah, that's pretty much it for close games there. Any other close games on the boys' side? Let's see. No, not really. Friday, boys lacrosse second round. May River beat Academic Magnet 13-7. Bishop England took down Hilton Head boys lacrosse 13-3. Bishop England's always really good. Girls lacrosse second round. Hilton Head beat May River 17-6, so they're moving on. Ends May River season. Good season for that girls lacrosse team. Any other scores? Got softball scores that are just incredible. Legacy Christian takes down Sumter Christian 22-7, and then they beat Northside Christian 23-11. Wow, that's a lot of runs. That is a lot of runs. But that's softball at the smaller schools for you. Any scores from girls and boys soccer? No, I'll have to look them up. Was there any good matchups there? Prep at St. Andrews, that could have been interesting. GB2 beat Pinewood 8-0. Wow. Anything else? No, not really. Of course, I mentioned USCB had the track and field championships that began on Friday, continued through Saturday out at Emory Riddle and Daytona Beach. Yeah, no, that's about it. So, upcoming week for high school sports. We got 3A first round boys soccer, 4A, well, basically all of South Carolina High School League playoffs begin this week. High school baseball, boys soccer, boys lacrosse will continue. May River is going to be in the 4A semifinals. We'll see who they end up facing. Skis of baseball will continue. Spartanburg Christian will be at Helmet Prep on Monday. Anything else? Really, playoffs we're in full swing of playoffs now. No more regular season. That's it right there. Wednesday, this is where it gets interesting. Wednesday for skis of baseball. Helmet Christian will await the winner of Lawrence Manning and Augusta Christian. That's on Monday. So we're going to keep a close eye on that game. And then Hillnet Prep, Spartansburg Christian, whoever wins that will be on the road at Williamsburg for a chance to continue their season. Thursday, baseball districts are continuing. So they're doing district tournaments this year. It's very interesting. But here's the thing. Tonight, I should mention tonight, speaking of brackets and everything, we are doing a Lowco Sports Lowdown tonight for those of you who are watching. If you want to see us go through all the brackets, please feel free to tune in. Excuse me, tonight. I think we're doing an 8 o'clock start tonight. So for those of you who want to watch, please feel free to do so. So districts will continue on Thursday, Friday. USCB will be starting their Peach Belt Conference tournament as either this 5 or 6 seed. Right now, actually, since we're mentioning that, still a 1-1 game. They're in the top of the 7th. 1 out for USCB. They're trying to get the lead to head to the bottom half of the inning. So we'll see if they do so. Let's see, Friday and then Saturday. Saturday we do have some baseball games on Saturday. For South Carolina High School League, we also have High School League softball games, high school boys soccer games, high school boys tennis games, boys lacrosse, girls lacrosse. I mean, we got a bunch of stuff coming up on Saturday of next week. And then if USTV continues on, they'll be playing on Sunday in the Peach Belt Conference tournament. So that's the week for y'all. It's going to be one heck of a week. All right, let's look over the skis of baseball playoffs real quick. I want to get this up here. We'll start with 1A. We don't really need to worry about, although there's a couple teams I like to keep an eye on. Richard Wynn and Marlboro, King Academy and Wardlaw. 2A, Thomas Hayward falls to the Kings Academy. They'll take on Lee Academy. That should be interesting. Thomas Hayward was a 2 seed, by the way, and fell short to the Kings Academy. Anyone on the bottom half? Dorchester Academy, they'll be playing Lawrence. They were a 1 seed. They'll be taking on the 3 seed as well. 3A playoffs. Here we go. Top half of the 3A. There's some teams to keep an eye on the upper 3A bracket. Calhoun Academy will await the winner of Greenwood Christian and PD. I've been keeping an eye on PD. I'm intrigued to see if they can get that. Greenwood Christian won the last time those two teams faced, so we'll see how they do. Here's where it gets interesting for us. Lower half of the 3A bracket. Hillnet Prep, of course, lost to Williamsburg on Thursday. They will play Spartanburg Christian on Monday. Did they play each other this year? No, they didn't. So intriguing to see where this goes. Spartanburg Christian was the 4 seed, Prep's the 2 seed on the lower half of the bracket. Whoever wins will play Williamsburg on Wednesday. 4A, here we go. JB2 was the 3 seed, played Augusta Christian, lost that game, ended up having to play Hammond on Wednesday and fell short in that game as well. So their season, unfortunately, is done. Augusta Christian fell short to Hilton Head Christian on a walk-off home run in a 1-0 ball game. Really great game. If those two teams play again, this is going to be a fun game on Wednesday. And if Augusta Christian wins, a necessary game on Thursday, and whoever wins that will be going on to the state championship series, best of 3 series, if I'm remembering correctly. Lower half of the bracket for 4A, this is where we see who Hilton Head Christian, if they continue to move on, will play next. So Ben Libin and Pinewood play on Monday. Hilton Head Christian, if I'm remembering correctly, has already beaten Pinewood with ease this year. They'll play the winner of Ben Libin and Cardinal Newman, who was, in fact, Cardinal Newman. So Ben Libin and Pinewood Prep, whoever wins that one, remember, Ben Libin fell short to Hilton Head Christian last year in the state title, state championship series. So if they get through and somehow beat Cardinal Newman in 2 straight games, we could be looking at a rematch. However, I have a feeling Cardinal Newman and Pinewood Prep, it's going to be very interesting. Which, funny enough, Ben Libin beat Pinewood Prep already in that second round. So that could be interesting. Ben Libin's on a run lately. They're the 4 seed, but they're playing some really good baseball right now. I know they fell just short to Cardinal Newman, but could be interesting if Ben Libin moves on. So it could be either Pinewood Prep, Ben Libin, or Cardinal Newman that could face Hilton Head Christian if Hilton Head Christian gets through. So that's the state playoff brackets for SCISA. I'm not going to go over the South Carolina High School League yet. We're doing that tonight, so I'm not going to do any of that. Let's check and see where we are. Bottom 7 now between USCB and USC Aiken. That's going to be interesting for them. We'll see how they do. We'll keep an eye on that one. Anything else to go over high school wise? I think that's about it. We'll go over the rest of the brackets tonight on the Lowco Sports Lowdown. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk some other stuff, including the Atlanta Braves, who have been on a heater as of late, best record in baseball. We'll talk about them, being that we are in Braves country, and so if you don't like it, you can not watch this show. It doesn't bother me. But I do like having people watching the show because I think I do a good show. So we'll see. We'll talk about Atlanta Braves baseball and the rest of Major League Baseball and what else is going on, including the NBA playoffs, the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. We'll talk about all of that when we come back here. You're watching the Mad Max Lowco Recap on the Lowco Sports Media Network. Welcome back to the Mad Max Local Recap. All right, let's talk about some other sports going on across the country and the world. Meanwhile, I'll have this up for you guys to watch as we go over some stuff. USCB and USC Aiken, bottom seven. Madison Murphy just got a strikeout to get the first out, so should be interesting to see what happens here. 1-1 count. See where she goes with this one. Nope, gets past the catcher. All right. Meanwhile, let's talk about some Major League Baseball. We'll go over standings real quick so far through the first 30 plus games. American League East, Yankees sitting in first, a game and a half ahead of the Tampa Bay Rays. And then it is a bit of a gap between Tampa Bay and the rest of the league. The Blue Jays are 6 games behind, Orioles 7, Red Sox 13-20 record. They are 9 games behind. Excuse me. Meanwhile, American League Central, tight American League Central, very tight. Cleveland Guardians, is finishing sitting first right now, a game ahead of the Tigers. White Sox are a game and a half behind the Cleveland Guardians, so half game behind the Tigers. Then 2 games behind them is the Royals, and a game and a half behind them is the Twins, sitting at 14-20. American League West. Now this one's interesting because the I can't say Oakland Athletics anymore. The Athletics, the A's, just the A's, stupid, just stupid. Should have stayed in Oakland. Nonetheless, they are currently in first right now, a game ahead of the Texas Rangers. Half a game behind the Rangers is the Seattle Mariners. And then a bit of a gap, 3 games behind them is the Houston Astros and the Angels, who are currently tied for that those last 2 spots in the American League West. Oh, hard hit ball over to left field. That's not caught. That's dropped. Oh, that might be an error. And so there'll be a runner on with 2 outs. See if USCB can shut the door and head to extra innings. Meanwhile, National League East. We're going to do the East in just a second because I do have to talk about that one because it is very interesting. We'll start with the Central. Justin Jarrett's Chicago Cubs sitting in first, a game ahead of the Reds, a game ahead of the Cardinals. And then 2.5 games back of the Cubs are the Brewers, and 3.5 games back are the Pirates. I should remind everyone that the National League Central, every single team is currently above 500. Does it stay that way? I don't know. I don't know. It'd be fun to see if that becomes the case. It wouldn't be surprising. We've seen it happen before, where almost 4 out of 5 teams, or even all 5 teams, have finished with a winning record. So it'd be very interesting to see. Yeah, very interesting National League Central. The West, the Dodgers half a game ahead of the Padres at 20-13. Padres 19-13. Diamondbacks are 3.5 games back of the Dodgers, 16 and 16. 14-20 are the Colorado Rockies. They play the Atlanta Braves in their 3rd game of the series today at home, and then the San Francisco Giants are 7 games behind the Dodgers. Now, the National League East, as 2 runners are now on for USC Aiken. They're trying to finish this ball game up. Hopefully that doesn't happen and USCB can shut the door here. Well, you know what? I'll get to the National League in a second. I want to watch and see what happens here. Murphy with the first pitch, right in there for a strike. Of course, I was on the call last week with USCB, picking up 2 out of 3 games against Georgia Southwestern, the final home weekend series. And it was a blast to cover USCB softball this year as the runners advance to 2nd and 3rd. That's not good for USCB. They're trying to finish this thing up. My laptop's heating up for some reason. All right. Still good. We're continuing to go. So 2 runners on 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs for USCB, trying to shut this one out, head to the 8th. They're not going to do it. USC Aiken wins. Terrible way to finish for USCB. So that that does it for them. Which means they will have the 6th seed heading into next week instead of the 5 seed. Man, tough way to finish out the regular season for USCB, but nonetheless, they will be in the Peach Belt Conference tournament, and it means they're in a much better spot than they were last year. If you remember last year, they went into the tournament as an 8 seed, single elimination tournament, and lost in a close game with North Georgia. So they're in a better spot this year. They will be taken on, because now that is official. Let's see. Let me get up the standings now. See if I can get them up here. Here we go. It means so the USCB, Augusta, and USC Aiken will all finish with 12 and 15 conference record. USC Aiken will have the 5 seed with the 3-2, 2-1 advantage over USCB. USCB will be the 6th seed because they have the advantage over Augusta, winning 2 out of 3 games against them. So that means Augusta will be the 7th seed. Flagler will be the 8th seed. So I believe playoffs are set. North Georgia 1, Columbus State 2. Waiting to see who 3 and 4 are going to be between Lander and Georgia College. We'll see about that tonight. Probably we'll get an idea. USC Aiken will be the 5 spot. USCB will be the 6. Augusta 7. Flagler will be 8. If I'm looking at this correctly. So that means USCB will play either Lander or Georgia College. So we will await to see who they end up playing. We'll probably get an idea by tonight while we're doing the Lowco Sports Lowdown, get an idea of that. It does mean that USCB will get the 6th seed. They will play either Lander or Georgia College. Meanwhile, USC Aiken will wait to see who they play between Lander and Georgia College. So tight windows here. We'll see what happens. But nonetheless, USCB falls short 2-1 to USC Aiken. Now, let me get back to baseball here. The Atlanta Braves, best record in baseball right now, 24-10, 7.5 game lead over the Miami Marlins. Not the team you would expect to say would be in second and make it worse. The Washington Nationals are sitting third right now, 9 games behind the Braves. So that leaves the Phillies and the Mets. The Phillies, I think they're starting to find their groove. 4-1 over their last 5 games, I believe, with Don Mattingly as their manager now, presumably for the rest of the season. Yeah. So the Phillies are sitting fourth, 13-20. And then there's the New York Mets sitting as the worst team in baseball right now, 11-22 record. I got to get to them in a second, but I'm going to start with the Atlanta Braves. This team, 24-10 right now, did not expect them to have this good of a start to the season because they were dealing with so many pitching issues, injuries. Spencer Strider, by the way, he's getting the start today. His first start back in a Braves uniform since his surgeries and his injuries and stuff. He's back. He's looking good, so I'm excited to see what he does. They're getting started in the next few minutes or so. Excuse me, hold on. My throat's getting a bit parched. All right, what was I saying? The Atlanta Braves are 24-10. They've been playing great. Has some injury issues. Actually, one of those injuries took place last night. Ronald Acuna Jr. has been put on the injured list. He's been put on the IL with left hamstring tightness. Hopefully that doesn't take him out for too long, but we'll see. Because Michael Harris has been dealing with quad tightness. Now, he's been playing and been great, even with quad issues. So, nonetheless, the Atlanta Braves are looking really good. Austin Riley may be starting to find his groove. He smoked one out yesterday. Granted, that ball was basically a fastball down as close to the absolute middle of the strike zone as you could for him to smack one out of here. He may be finding his groove. He's been playing good the last 2 days, so we'll see. Matt Olson has 5 home runs in his last 10 games. He's been unreal. Drake Baldwin continuing to be fantastic. This Braves lineup's really just been playing really good. Ozzy always has been on the tear as well. So there's a reason they're 24-10, and it's not because of just their lineup. The pitching, despite all the injuries, their pitching has been fantastic. It's been great to watch them play, and hopefully they get the series sweep tonight. If you didn't see Game One on Friday, they were down 6-0, and then it was 6-1, and next thing you know, they won it 8-6 within the last 3 innings of the game. Got Game One win, won 9-1 yesterday, and a good chance to get a series sweep today and continue as the only team in baseball who still has not lost the series yet this year, and they already won the first 2 games, so they're looking at their next game. However, the upcoming schedule is interesting. They do have the Dodgers coming up on their current road trip out west. I believe who do they play next? The Seattle Mariners is who they got next on the road in Seattle. Then they'll be at Dodger Stadium for a 3-game set next weekend. Should be fun one to watch between two of the best teams in baseball right now. Now, I'm not going to talk about the Philadelphia Phillies because I think they're going to find their groove. I do want to talk about the New York Mets because I just have to ask, what the hell are they doing? What are they doing? What are the New York Mets doing? Do they just want to be known as, oh, well, they are the Mets, for the rest of their time as a franchise, for all of eternity, basically? What are they doing? And the reason I'm asking that is ESPN reported this week that the Mets basically said, we do not plan on, firing Carlos Mendoza, the manager. Why? Why? Seriously, why? You have the worst record in baseball. You've been awful since last June, and you don't want to fire him? You don't plan on firing him? If you're going to fire him, if you want this team to be competitive, now would be the time to fire him. I mean, look at what the Red Sox fired Alex Cora. The Phillies just fired Rob Thompson after giving him a extension this past December, and they fire him literally 4 months later. And they fire him just over 4 months. Just over 4 months. What are they doing? What are they doing? You have the worst record in baseball right now. You've been awful really since over the last year now. And yet you have too good of a lineup of a team, too much talent on this team for them to be sitting with, what is it, an 11-22 record? Yeah, 11-22. 12 and a half games already out of first place. And that's just because the Braves currently have the best record in baseball, and it's going to be like that. But the New York Mets just don't learn from their mistakes. And if I'm remembering correctly, they have one of the highest payrolls in baseball. They may actually have the second highest payroll outside of the Dodgers. I want to check that. They do. They have the second highest. They have a higher payroll than the New York Yankees. The New York Yankees are first. The Dodgers have a higher payroll than the New York Mets do. Boy, that is a crazy payroll by the Dodgers. Dodgers have a $416.7 million payroll. Their payroll with the CBT, the competitive balance tax payroll of $416,668,163, which is well above the $244 million luxury tax threshold. Biggest spenders this year. Mets payroll, $381.5 million. That's the second highest in baseball. New York Yankees don't come close, $338 million. And yet the Yankees and the Dodgers, respectively, are first in both of their divisions. Where are the Mets? Dead last. Not just in their division, but all of baseball. So you got to ask yourself, is it really the lineup? I don't think so. It's the coaching staff. The coaching staff is the issue with the New York Mets, period. Now, I get it. They've had some injuries. Juan Soto was out for a couple weeks, but he's back. He's healthy. Francisco Lindor, he was dealing with a couple issues. He seems to be okay. You got other players. Brett Beatty. I know you lost Edwin Diaz, and that's fine and all. He went to the Dodgers, as does every freaking player. They just want to go play for the Dodgers because they're going to pay him, $10 million more than probably what they're worth. But you have the second highest payroll, which tends to make me think you have one of the more talented rosters in baseball if you have a payroll that big. And yet you still, are sitting dead last in all of Major League Baseball, not just the National League, not just the American League, not just in the National League or the American League or in their division. They are last in baseball, period. And you have the second highest payroll in baseball. Explain that to me. Apart from the injuries that they have had this season, which, yes, Juan Soto was out for a couple weeks. Other than that, I know their pitching. I don't think their pitching is all that great, but I mean, the team itself cannot be the issue. It's got to be the coaching staff. So why do the Mets tell everyone, no, we don't plan on firing Carlos Mendoza? Why would we? I don't know. Maybe it's because you suck. You suck. You suck right now. You were on a 12-game losing streak a couple weeks ago. You suck. And by the way, I mentioned this on the Lowco Sports Lowdown. There has been no team in Major League Baseball history to get to the Major League Baseball playoffs, the postseason, after having a 12-game losing streak during the season. Never happened. There's never been a team who's made the postseason with a 12-game losing streak during the regular season. The Mets might be the dumbest franchise in baseball right now, period. Because if they don't think Carlos Mendoza is the issue, they really are dumber than a box of rocks. Second highest payroll in baseball, and you have the worst record in the league right now. I know it's early in the season, but the way the Mets have been playing, I don't see them getting out of where they are right now, as long as Carlos Mendoza is the manager. They're just stupid. They're really stupid. I just don't understand why the Mets have to be this dumb when you pay so much money to your players, but yet when it comes to making the team successful, you look at the coaching staff and say, oh no, they're not the problem. Why would they be the problem? It's just stupid. It really is stupid. All right, let's go over some other sports. Obviously, the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs are underway. The Carolina Hurricanes swept through their first round over the Ottawa Senators. Let's check the NHL. Do we got any games today? I'm sure we do. Who is playing today? So Carolina won their first game in the second round yesterday. They beat the Philadelphia Flyers, so they lead that series 1-0. Today, Game 7 of Round 1 between the Canadiens and the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's at 6 o'clock. Game 1 of the second round between the Minnesota Wild and the Colorado Avalanche is at 9 o'clock tonight. Tomorrow, Ducks will play the Golden Knights in their first game of that second round setup. Flyers play the Hurricanes. Let's see, anyone else? No, it's getting to be to that point, fellas. We're getting close in the playoffs. We're getting there. So that's the NHL. NBA. Obviously, we don't need to talk about the Atlanta Hawks or anything like that. I think everybody knows what happens. If you don't know what happened, the Knicks smoked them. That's all you need to know. Currently, Game 7 underway between the Pistons and the Magic. Pistons might be in a bit of trouble. They're currently down 2, so nothing to be worried about. They're only in the first quarter, but the Magic have played really well this series, so it'll be intriguing to see. And then Game 7 tonight between the Raptors and Cavaliers. Tomorrow, Game 1 between the Sixers and the Knicks. And the Timberwolves will take on the Spurs in Game 1 tomorrow as well. And then on Tuesday, game one between the Lakers and the Thunder. That should be fun to watch. Very fun to watch. I'm excited for that. So, yeah. Man, the Sixers knocked the Celtics out. How about that? Crazy. That's crazy. So that's NBA and NHL wrapped up for you for this week. We'll talk about them a bit more next week when I have time here on the Loco Sports Lowdown. I think that's going to do it for us. Stay tuned tonight. 8 o'clock, I believe, is the start time for the Loco Sports Lowdown. It's either 8 or 9 o'clock. I think we're agreeing on currently 8 o'clock. So should be fun. Should be a fun show. We'll go over all the South Carolina High School League brackets for all the sports that start this week, tomorrow, in fact. So we'll talk about all that on the Loco Sports Lowdown tonight. But that's going to do it for us here on the Mad Max Local Recap. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thank the viewers for continuing to support us. And hopefully I'll see you next Sunday. And I will see you tonight on the Loco Sports Lowdown. So thank you, everyone. I've been Max Araj. Thank you for joining us. And this has been the Mad Max Local Recap. And until next time, go Loco.